What's up, guys? How you doing? My name's TB. We're here to talk about Sword Art Online episode 16 in season 3. Now, you guys know where we left off last week, on a big, giant cliffhanger. A lot of people were upset, or at least I was upset. They could at least resolve the fight in that episode. That way they could have more time for what's going to happen in this episode. But lately they've been giving us a lot of cliffhangers, so it's whatever. Kirito was about to use his object control, the thing, enhance his armament for his own sword, and we were ready to see it. He was ready to do it right at the end of the episode. The beginning of the episode, it starts off that way, and we already know, since it's Kirito and she already had to deal with Yu-Gi-Oh's, that there's no way that they're gonna lose here. No way that they're gonna lose here, especially since her attack is pretty much defending. She's trying to stave off Kirito's attack. It's like her last ditch effort for her to maybe sort of kind of win the fight, and she gets destroyed right away. Actually, the blast combining from both of their attacks makes it so that Yu-Gi-Oh has to use his ice for him to even stay on the field. The blast is pretty significant. It blasts her up into the ceiling. She crashes into the artwork there of the church that they got, and then she falls down on the floor. You get a picture of both of them on the ground. Yu-Gi-Oh immediately runs to him to see if he's okay, and it seems like, I'm not 100% sure, the luminous element that they keep on using, it's used for multiple things. It's used to heal, it's used to obviously light things, but it seems like an element can do more than one thing. It doesn't just have to do more than one thing. Could they even try to use it on her? Could they try to save her? But we're getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. We see him doing the same thing that Kirito did in the beginning, the very beginning of the season, with him and Alice's sister. He's transferring object integrity of himself to Kirito, and it seems like he didn't really have to do it for that long before Kirito feels a little bit better. The longer you do it, the more of your life you give away could potentially put yourself in danger. So this is the second time that we see that happening. It's cool to know that even if you can't heal them through normal means, you can still do this kind of like as a last ditch effort. And they have a pretty interesting conversation. It doesn't last too long, but basically Yu-Gi-Oh is saying, how can you feel the way that you do towards Fanatio after she just tried to kill you? And Kirito's like, well, you already defeated the Integrity Knights, the 4 Whirling Swords. You already defeated Fanatio, helping with your sword, with your blue rose. So you shouldn't really have any bad feelings towards them anyway. They have their own reasons for why they fight. It may be misguided, but they weren't fighting you with hate. They were fighting you with their own sense of justice. And at the end, Yu-Gi-Oh makes this remark not towards Kirito but towards himself. He's like, yeah, I guess so, but can you really feel that way towards the Pontifex? The Pontifex is Quinella. We already heard her whole entire backstory. Once they had to fight her, will he have the same feelings towards her as she does towards all the other Integrity Knights? Like how Kirito wants to save everybody and the underworld itself, right? We already know, that is going to be really hard to do because, for several reasons. Because one, she's trying to control everything and she's trying to rule everything. And not only that, Cardinal wants to destroy everything and save a few like key people. She doesn't even care about herself. At this point, Cardinal doesn't care about herself. So that's interesting, the conversation that they had. Kirito is still keeping a few things from Yu-Gi-Oh, I feel like. Eventually, it's going to have to come out. When? We don't know. So they try to save Fanatio because, Kirito wants to make sure that he saves everybody. He didn't want to kill her. He just kind of wanted to stop her. They try. It doesn't work. So Kirito comes to the conclusion that he needs to use the dagger that was specifically for the Pontifex on her so Cardinal can come and save her. She does it, and she's like, hopefully you can use the other dagger that you have, or hopefully that you won't need to when you fight her, because the Pontifex is currently asleep. Whatever that means. Like the power that she has right now is not currently on or available or working. She gives him potions which they sorely, desperately need, especially Kirito. Kirito has like 3 or 4 holes in his body from her divine weapon that she used on him. Basically a giant beam of light just freaking destroying him. And, it was small, it was pointed very small, but still, you don't know, like he could have had a hole in his stomach, in his leg. He really needed those potions. It healed them both up completely. Now the next part of the episode was kind of pointless. I feel like it didn't really bring much to the table. That's why I don't really know why it was the thumbnail or the picture for this episode. I thought that she was going to be an Integrity Knight. Now, like, she kind of looks a little harmless. and she doesn't even have a name. It's the girl who operates the elevator. The only thing really important to come out of this conversation was the fact that they had this little bit of dialogue, and I put it on the screen right now. So apparently, Cardinal said that even if you freeze the natural degradation of a life with a spell, you can't stop the soul from aging, right? That makes sense because it's a flux light from an actual human being. It just grew inside this underworld game. The memory is affected bit by bit until it's destroyed in the end. Okay, so now what that tells me is that even though Quinella has lived for years as the Pontifex, her soul has mixed with the cardinal system. It's still a flux light, you know. Maybe her memories is all messed up. Maybe, you know, her morals, her values, that's all messed up too. But like, won't she eventually die if you guys just leave her alone? Like, that's my question. This will happen to her, the operator, this girl that all she ever does is operate the elevator and nothing else for over 100 years. Even Yu-Gi-Oh makes a comment that like his role, like his career or whatever you want to call it, was nothing compared to hers. She literally has one job and it never ends, because if anyone needs to use the elevator, that's what she does. That's the only thing interesting to come out of that conversation. After that, we get the real important part of this episode, which is Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh finally meet Alice, except for it looks like she's been expecting them 100%. She's not surprised. She's like, hold up, I want to bask in some of this sun, and my skin is real white. I need I need a little bit of sunlight. But no, really. And they had a plan going in before this, right? Kirito was like, if we can catch her off guard and make sure that she doesn't, you know, recite her spell, the thing that's going to make her sword stronger, so she'd be able to use it. They can catch her off guard, use the dagger that Yu-Gi-Oh has that, again, is meant for the Pontifex, but use the dagger on her to bring her back to the Cardinal. Doesn't work out that way. She already was ready for them. Apparently the tree that she was sitting next to was her sword. She freaking manifests that thing in her hand, and it looks like she can just manipulate light, but like it's golden, and it's in the shape of a flower. And it's freaking OP, man. This thing is freaking strong. She knocks them both out very easily, and she's like, you guys better not be joking around. You better come at me with your sword, otherwise I'm gonna erase you. She didn't say kill, destroy, erase, like from existence, like you'll be gone. Kirito asked some certain questions about, you know, how her sword is so strong, this and that, and every Integrity Knight has a fancy story about how they got some powerful object, and you know, of course the show has to tell us that. So they fight for a little bit, and very little bit. After they fight, Kirito obviously has the same plan that he did with Fanatio. Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna freeze her. After they freeze her, Yu-Gi-Oh's gonna use the dagger on her, and that'll be that. Didn't work that way, because like I said, she's OP as heck. She uses her sword to break through the ice, and she's like, yeah, that ain't gonna fly, that ain't gonna work. But in that moment where she gives the intention to Yu-Gi-Oh instead of Kirito uses his, you know, object, you know, to enhance his armament. They attack each other, and that attack is so strong that it blows a freaking hole in the wall, and they get sucked out into the vacuum outside of the castle. Have no idea what happened to them. No idea. Yu-Gi-Oh, after this happens, he's like, bro, where are you guys? And the wall freaking fixes itself. You see it's the freaking boulders and the rocks slowly like forming back together, and it's just a solid wall again. And then the episode ends. It's crazy. I thought that maybe he was gonna go out there, like jump and look for them and like use his sword to like scale the wall or something like that. No. And throughout all of this, we don't even know if Quinella, the Pontifex, is even awake. Maybe she's still asleep. We don't know. Well, next week's episode is called Truce, so maybe Kirito is able to talk to Alice somehow, some way, and make sure that she won't kill him. Because right now they're separated. Yu-Gi-Oh is alone in the garden. Kirito and Alice are somewhere out there, falling through the sky. Probably still as we speak. This episode was very interesting, and not much of action happened this episode, but it's okay because story-wise, it actually went further along because they met up with Alice again. And you know they're going to solve the problem of, you know, the fact that she's being controlled by the Pontifex and she's an Integrity Knight and her memories are being manipulated. They're going to fix that. Let me know what was your favorite moment of this episode, guys, because it was really good. It was really good. I was sure that she was strong. Just looking at her, she just seemed strong. And she has such an odd name. There's a name for this episode, and I'm pretty sure it's referring to her, but I can't even pronounce it. I like this episode a lot. I really did. It shows that no matter how strong Yujiro and Kirito get, there's always going to be somebody that they face who's a little bit too strong for them. You know what I mean? And it was just interesting to see that they actually met and that they fought. She's a beast. She really is. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode and the review. I'll see you all next week. Peace.